What's happening, guys? New box just got leaked and it's coming in a couple of days, so let's see whether this box is worth getting. This box gives support to TGs, Sky Strikers, Ogdoadics, Reptilians, Valur, Dream Mirror, Gouki, Firewall Cyburst, Cliffort, Gladiator Beast, Synchrons, Evil Eye, Onomets, Infinitrax, and Pendulums. Bruh, goddamn, what deck didn't they support in this box? Let's get the big one out of the way. Sky Strikers are making their entrance to the game with this box, and they are coming with a skill 2 that gives them most of their extra deck monsters alongside Engage, a powerful search spell that they can loop for card advantage that also draws them bonus cards if you have 3 spells engraved. That's kind of the big gimmick of this deck. You're trying to control the game with all of your spells that also get bonus effects if you got 3 or more spells engraved, but all of the spells only work if you don't have any monsters in your main monster zones. So the whole monster lineup is link monsters that can use each other as material, and Ray, who can be used to summon them, either as link material or by her tagging out effect. Ray is really a pretty big deal because if they try to interrupt her, she can just quick effect tribute herself to summon one of your links. But if they try to interrupt one of your links, then she comes back from the graveyard upon those links leaving the field, so that she can use her tag out effect again, meaning that it's going to be difficult for the opponent to stop you from getting your plays going. We've also got pretty much all of the spells that we need in order for this deck to be consistent and have its interruptions, as well as, for once, they gave us skill that doesn't lock the archetype it supports out of playing IDP, so this deck can take full advantage of IDP if it wants to. There is a good chance that this deck is going to be meta. Tech Genius is the other really big thing from this box. It's one of Weatherman's favorite decks, so if you are interested in seeing an advanced guide for this new version of TGs, let us know in the comments and Weatherman will get right on it. This deck got new consistency cards, a new boss monster, new extension plays like the Link monster that on summon can summon a TG from hand, deck, and grave. Yes, that's right, I said and, not or. And the great thing is that in the TCG, this card summons the monsters to the zones that it points to, but they changed it for Duel Links so that it doesn't care about the zones it points to. This amount of board presence is going to make it easy to go into whatever synchro plays you want to go into, like the new TG Shooting Star Dragon that can negate targeting effects and revive itself on the opponent's turn. And if you summon it under one of the new Link zones, then he himself can't be targeted. So the Shooting Star Dragon's targeting negate won't be so easy to bait out either. The new skill and the new consistency spell limiter removal are going to make it easier to set up all of the summons that you need too. Ogdoadic and Reptilian are reptile archetypes. Reptilian technically already existed in Duel Links, but not the good ones, while Ogdoadic is a new one, and the reason I'm mentioning them together is that they might actually work really well together, alongside the generic reptile support card Snake Rain, since these new reptiles get benefits from being in the grave, because they all let you summon themselves from grave by some way or another, and their boss monster Ogdoabyss has an effect to send all monsters to the grave except monsters summoned from the grave. So it'll basically be a one-sided board nuke if your opponent has a bunch of monsters summoned from the hand, deck, extra deck, or banish pile. Yet again, too, this deck also has a new consistency skill that's basically a reptile version of the old light and dark skill. Cliffort's got most of its support some time ago, but have finally got their boss monster Apocal Towers, who is unaffected by spells and traps and unaffected by monsters with a level or rank lower than his level. And he's a level 10, so it's not going to be very easy to beat this guy. He also once per turn forces you to send one of your own cards to the grave, kind of like Dakini, and he also reduces all special summon monsters attack and defense by 500, making it harder to beat over him. The Cliffort deck's aim is to pendulum summon 3 materials to be tributed for this guy's tribute summon, since just like the god cards, this guy requires 3 tributes. There's a loophole to deal with this guy though. If you have a way to beat over him like Utopia the Lightning, then you can get rid of him. And if you have a Link monster, well, Link monsters don't have levels or ranks, so they will be able to affect this guy. This guy also got a skill that gives you pendulum zones and lets you gain 800 life points for each of your Clifforts that you use as tribute material, which can be helpful because this deck does pay life points for some of its effect. The 3 decks that got supported in the newest deck building box also got support in this box, and that's kind of the reason we haven't done any guides on decks from that box, because we pretty much saw this coming, that Evil Eye would get a Link monster, which they did, and it acts like a nice interruption, negating opponent's monsters. The Gladiator Beasts would get support, which they did. They got their Link monsters and a search spell, which they needed to be able to actually do their Gladiator Beast combos at all, as well as a new skill that gives them free extension and play protection. And lastly, Dream Mirrors, which have finally gotten an actual win condition. Konami had to release 2 products supporting this deck before finally actually giving it something to do, and that is its fusion plays. There can be an interruption, negating opponent's monsters, among other things. The Cyburst type has already gotten a skill that supports the Link OTK playstyle, a skill that supports the Cyburst fusions, and a skill that supports the Cyburst synchros. So it's only natural now that they get a skill that supports the Exceed Cyburst, and this box gives us the great new Cyburst Exceed's FirewallExceed Dragon that gains 500 attack for all of the Link monsters that point to him, so he could very easily get huge. And they also got an extension piece that the skill can summon from the deck for you, Firewall Guardian, who you might use as Exceed material since he is level 4, but if you use him as Link material, then you can special summon him back to the field but banish him when he leaves the field. So you could use him as Link material first and bring him back, then use him as Exceed material so that he doesn't get banished when he leaves the field, because you could also detach him from FirewallExceed Dragon to activate Exceed's other effect to revive the original Firewall Dragon that the skill will put in the grave for you. So not only can you have the FirewallExceed at a huge attack value of 4500, but you'll also have an interruption with Firewall Dragon bouncing a card once per turn while he's co-link, which he could be if the Link that you summoned with Guardian points down. And then, if the opponent attacks, Guardian could negate that attack by banishing it itself from the grave, and in the process you'll be reducing the attacking monster to 0 and ending the opponent's turn, meaning you can go for an easy OTK with Exceed Dragon. We also got support that can help in summoning the controversial Synchro Baron Defur. It's a skill exclusive card at the moment that can negate any card once while it's face up on the field, so a monster, spell, or trap, and during the standby phase it can return itself to the extra deck to summon a level 9 or lower monster from the grave. What's so controversial about her is that she's a generically summonable Omni Negate, but thankfully in Duel Links she is entirely restricted to being used in a skill. You can add her to your extra deck with this new skill if you control the Synchro Chevalier de Fleur and the opponent also controls a monster. The big deal about this is that not just any deck can summon Chevalier, you need a Fleur Synchron to do it, as well as the fact that the opponent has to control a monster in order for you to be able to do this, so either you need to go second with this skill or you need to have a way to put a monster on your opponent's side of the field. These are things that are possible, but it's enough restrictions that it's not like everybody is going to be out here summoning Baron, so it's likely not going to be that broken, but I could definitely be wrong, so be sure to let us know in the comments. But if you were to play the Fleur deck without Baron, then this box gives support cards that make it easy to summon the other boss monsters that Sherry is famous for. Gouki was a good OTK deck back in Duel Links closer to when its older support cards came out, but it's just now got a new skill that helps with follow-up plays and survivability, as well as a bunch of new cards. But it just kind of feels like it makes the deck better at OTKs. It doesn't seem like it helps the deck to go first very well, so the deck might still be falling back to the wayside, but we will have to see how the community's deck builders figure this out. I saved my favorite of the new pieces of support for last, the Synchron support. Of course, if Weatherman's gonna get his TGs, then I'm gonna get my Synchrons. Of course, we Synchron players also benefit from the new Shooting Star Dragon, but we also got a new skill that makes it much easier to get extension plays going, as well as making it much easier to go into our more difficult Synchro boss monsters. But we also got new cards too, like Junk Connector, which can let us quick effect Synchro summon during the main phase or the battle phase, which is rare because usually the effects only let us quick Synchro during the main phase, so they can't just bait us out by going into the battle phase if we use this. A new skill lets us get Starlight Junction easier, which lets us tribute a tuner to summon a Synchron from the deck, so we might summon Wheel Synchron, who can give us a bonus normal summon, which is really great for extending our combos further and helping us make our bosses. There's obviously a lot of information about all of the decks I've talked about so far that I haven't gone over, because this is just a box review. I can't talk about everything, but really I feel like every deck supported by this box is getting a really nice buff, and whether you're a fan of these decks or if you're looking to see if this box is good competitively, I can say very easily that I think Sky Strikers, Tech Genius, Firewall, Ogdoatic, Clifford, Evil Eye, and Synchrons will all be relevant to the meta, even if only at a rogue level, but Sky Strikers is definitely looking like it's going to be top tier. This box also finally gives free-to-play players access to Onomata Para and Brutal Dozer, both really important cards for the decks they are played in, and if you're looking for updated guides for Onomats or Infinitrax, then be sure to let us know in the comments and we can get those done for you. Last of all, this box gives us some really nice generically usable cards. First of all, Fusion Redeployment reveals a fusion in your extra deck and special summons a specific fusion material listed on that fusion from your deck. But for the rest of the turn, you can't special summon monsters from the extra deck except fusions. This can actually be a really nice starter or extender in any fusion deck that has a fusion material specifically named on its fusion monsters. A great example of this is Gladiator Beasts, where you could reveal most of their fusions to summon some of their different gladiator beasts from the deck. The issue with this though is that the gladiator beast combos want you to be able to link summon, so this might not work. But this also works for Bell, because you could summon Bell from the deck in order to get your combo going, and that deck doesn't do anything but fusion summon anyway. The main weakness of this being that Kluger and Redeployment are both limited to 3, so you wouldn't be able to max out on this. The other generic card this box gives us is Ghost Mourner and Moonit Chill. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can discard this card and target that monster to negate that monster's effects that turn, and if that monster leaves the field that turn, then the opponent takes burn equal to half that monster's original attack. Really, this is just Effect Veiler with more restrictions. Both of them discard themselves and target a monster, but Effect Veiler can target a normal summon monster too, and can target monsters after they've been summoned rather than when they are summoned only. However, that added burn damage might be nice, and being able to play essentially more copies of Effect Veiler might be nice depending on the format. Overall, I feel like this box gives really nice generic cards, really good new decks, and really damn good support for older decks, and honestly, this box gives just so many new things to play with that I don't even know if we are going to have enough time to make videos about all of them. I feel like this box is definitely 4 stars out of 5 on the 6K scale, because this is a really high value box to go through. However, it isn't a box that you should feel bad about skipping if you aren't interested in the decks inside. But I want to know how you guys feel about this box, so how would you rate it out of 5? What decks are you interested in playing with, and which ones do you think we should make guides about? We want to know, so let us know down in the comments, and if you like this video, then slap like now, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell to get notified every time we make a new video. Have yourselves a good one, guys, and I've been Undead from Team 6K, signing out.
Hey, why they gotta hate on me? I done got me 250,000 views and they still saying they low key. They ain't wanna come work with the kid, but I'm flexing with Zay on beats. How they ask for a spot at the gym, but they leave all the weight on me. I don't ask them to wait on me. They would ask where they gon' be with a song if they wanted the weatherman. I ain't asking to pay no fees. She was homeless and needed a spot. I ain't ask her to pay no lease. I ain't ask her to say no please. I ain't ask her to make no cheese. Scream fake, but it ain't on me. Got clean, so it ain't no streets. Why green if it ain't no keeps? Brought cream, so it ain't no beef. My team say it ain't no chief. My demon, they hang on me. They seemingly ain't no peace. I seen him, he ain't no beast. For